Howdy y'all, welcome back to Rat's Nest Hot Rods. Yes, there's a little preview of what's to come. We're going to blast the Cadillac today and all the spots that we didn't use the aircraft stripper from the previous video on, kind of the harder to reach spots. I didn't want to get a bunch of chemical stripper back into all these joints and things like that and then have to try and neutralize it and get it out. So we're going to blast these other portions. This is a 40-pound pot blaster from Harbor Freight. Works really good. We're using medium grit recycled glass from Clean Blast here in Tacoma, and we'll move around the car. The video is not all blasting. We'll speed through this and we'll get to using a Bondo Buster with 80 grit, a DA with 80 grit, and then coming back cleaning the metal with 120 grit, and then finalizing and conditioning the metal for epoxy primer at the end with a red 3M scotch-brite 6-inch disc that goes on your DA. Highly recommended, and it'll put a nice final tooth in it and do the final cleaning on the metal. Very interesting stuff ahead if you like watching blasting and metal conditioning, that is, but very, very important to do if you're gonna start to paint your car. Sit back and enjoy, and be glad this isn't your garage that you've got to clean up.
Dark urban imagery, looking in a broken mirror, washing his face.
I like to reuse that blast media. That's why I don't do it outside, and then run it through this strainer that I bought from Eastwood.com. It works awesome. I don't try to screen everything out of there. I get it pretty close and then dump the rest out. You'll have lots of things that you pick up off the floor, but also the stuff that you knocked off the car in there. It works good. I like to start with a medium grit out of a new bag, and it by the time you use it 3 times or so, it works its way down into a fine particle, and it kind of helps you get into some of the smaller areas. But we're making good progress. I'll speed her back up, and we'll get to some more blasting and into metal prep here very shortly. Talking to itself again, and the smoke floating up in the perfume of gasoline again, and the rush hours of disaster, and the kingdom come, and the sky full of eyelashes, and thy will that will be done, saying it's not the love that I'm running from, it's the heartbreak that I know will come. All right, I'm going to lay some tape lines down, actually just kind of covering both sides of 1/2 inch on either side of the body line. I thought this would give me something to remind me not to go over the body lines. It's worthless, so not sure why I did it, but I thought it would work. Anyway, you'll see it get ripped off really quick when we start with the DA, so don't bother doing this. My intent was to make sure that I didn't gouge or burn down the body lines, and then figured it really isn't that hard not to do that. So it'll get ripped off here shortly, and we're going to bust out the 8-inch Bondo Buster from Ingersoll Rand, and then a smaller DA from Harbor Freight, and we'll start rocking and rolling with some 80 grit.
More troubles at your back than you got thoughts to put them in. You would do something about it, but you just don't know where to begin. The blues go to infinity. Open like that way you think. Infinity. Open like that way you think. Infinity. Open like that way you think. I got compression now. I throw all caution out. I break the info down like a man from the mountains now. I got the half a job. I got the coup d'etat. I got the mission from the future. Cannot stop now. With more troubles at your back than you got thoughts to put them in. You would do something about it, but you just don't know where to begin. The blues go to infinity. Open like that way you think. 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 I got the heavy steel. I got the basement feel. I got the secret chords to rock your dirty floor appeal. I got the paper tongue, the memorization. I got the grooves to break the anti-satisfaction. With more troubles at your back than you got thoughts to put them in. You would do something about it, but you just don't know where to begin. The blues go to infinity. Open like that way you think. Infinity. Open like that way.
Time for the roof. We're going to jump up here with the Bondo Buster and also the DA, and hit this with 80 grit, get it down pretty clean to metal, and then come back with the 120 grit. And then finally we'll get to the red scotch-brite DA pad here towards the end, and you'll see the amazing results the combination really make. Yeah, hang out and watch.
I'm up for sale now. I'm almost halfway drowned. I got the clockwork words to bring the pointed steeple
going to show a little bit only of going over it with the 120 grit, and then you can see that red scotch-brite pad. It's got a hook and loop on the back of it. Bought it off eBay, or a 6-pack, I believe. And not exactly cheap, but they do condition the metal really well. You can see how much cleaner the metal looks when you hit it with a finer grit, and then coming back with that red scotch-brite puts a really good hard 80 grit scratch, and several other. So I think it's got a good mix of tooth that it puts into the metal. So you'll see that when it goes on there. We'll start making pretty nice linear passes, and here it goes right now. It starts to really clean up the metal. I'll jump in here towards the end. We're going to continue with the 120, it looks like, and then we'll jump onto the red scotch-brite here shortly.
From a TV set in a laundromat, she receives the message. The body blasted apart. A terrible new beauty is born, and it's racing through the night. Inside a crowded station in a city she doesn't care about. The flesh of the body spread now, just like a rumor.
And there you go. Really good process. I think the metal looks extraordinary. I know this is there's much more quicker ways to do this. I like the least aggressive method whenever I can stomach the patience. The part I skipped was you can see there was a bit of surface rust under the paint over there on the driver's side, and I took the blaster out to clean that up. When you start hitting that rust, it really does chew up your sandpaper. So opted for the blaster with some fine glass, and got that blasted out. As you can see, this does a remarkable job. This scotch-brite at the end after the 120 does a real nice job. So that's how we strip this car. Upcoming video we'll get to the epoxy primer, and then feather fill, and we'll start block sanding. Thanks for watching, guys. Don't hesitate to ask any questions if you see something that blows your mind or disagree with. Feel free to ask that question or threaten me with horrible, mean things that you want to say. Keep the likes coming. Really do help. That gets the video out to more people, and the subscriptions especially. Really enjoying doing this. I hope people are getting something out of it. I know that the videos have been a little bit longer lately, and I apologize for that, but hell, I could break it up into 2 8-minute videos, and it's 2 videos of the same thing, so forget that. Anyway, you guys have a nice evening, afternoon, or morning whenever you're watching this. Peace and grease, sucker.